Hi there, I'm Dr. Craig. It's on the syllabus, Chalquist. I'm a graduate instructor. I've published at this point 10 books and a bunch of papers and articles. So what I wanted to do is a short video, kind of informal, on how to get your writing flowing. Common problem is feeling stuck, whether you're a professional writer, a student, what have you, creative writer. I've been looking around a little bit on the internet and other places for what kind of advice do people usually give to help writing flow better and just get yourself into it. And some of it's good advice. Some of it just has never worked for me. I've never had a case where I just couldn't write. There's been times when I didn't want to write, but what I wanted to give you is 12 steps to take. And I'll tell you right up front what one of them is not going to be. This is what I mean by writing advice that's not workable, at least for me. A very common piece of advice is to just sit down 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, and just sit there until you write something. I think that's a great way to teach yourself how to hate writing, or to hate the paper that you're working on if you're writing academically, or the article, or whatever. It reminds me of being 5 and my parents sitting down and say, "You're not going to move until you eat those vegetables." It's going on 4 hours. Are we still going to sit here? So don't do that. There's funner ways to get it flowing. So I want to give you 12 of them and just go right through the list. So here's number 1. The first one is talk to somebody about what about the topic excites you. Talk first. Call them up on the phone, have them over in person, whatever it is, with the understanding that you may have to break the conversation so that you can start writing. Okay? So once you actually talk about it, well, the topic fascinates me because of this and that and this, and then the words start forming in your mind and they start coming out of your mouth, and eventually they'll sink into your hands, and then you can sit down or if you like this better. So that's a good way to get the process going, is to tell somebody about it first. Number 2, involve the body. Get up and move around. Listen to some music. Get going. Play air guitar. I think I have one right here. Here we go. Play this, air guitar. Oh, this is a lefty model. I hadn't noticed that before. Something. Just move around a little bit. And as you do, consult your body about where's the excitement for the topic in my body. And eventually, too, it'll get into your hands. Number 3. This probably should have been number 1. If the topic doesn't excite you, why are you writing about it? Are you writing about it because you think you should write about it? Are you writing about it because you've been given an assignment? Is it something like that? More about that later, making it your own. But right off the bat, if you have a choice and you're writing about a topic that doesn't excite you, you need to think about why, because that's going to be tough. So that moves us on to the next one, number 4. Make the topic your own. Make the topic your own. So find what it is about the topic that does have some energy for you, something about it that you can get excited about. Oftentimes when you're given a topic, whether to write professionally or as a school assignment, the way that it's phrased is really boring. Or an academic tone, please expostulate on the following principles of, I'm already asleep. So reword the topic in a way that excites you. Find the energy in it somewhere and start there, and then you can at least get writing. Number 5, write when you're hot for the topic. Don't try to artificially get yourself going and sitting at the table and maybe it'll come to me and all that. When you're really excited about the topic, maybe you watch a movie or something happens in your life or somebody brings it up in a conversation or whatever it is, when it's really going for you, that's when you should write about it. Sit down and write. And then when you're not going, let the unconscious work on it. And then you'll have something for the next time. All right. Number 6, do it with art first. So take the topic, whatever it is, and collage it, sketch it, paint it, Play-Doh, you remember that stuff? Sculpt it somehow. Sometimes when I write about things I'm learning about, I collect images, whether off the internet or whatever. Find something that reminds you of the topic and put it in front of you. I'm writing a little bit about synchronicity right now, meaningful coincidence. So I pulled up this card from a nice oracle deck that I have. That's sitting in front of me at the moment. Tomorrow it'll be something else. So get an image and work with that non-verbally first, and then see if that gets you flowing. Number 7, where is the topic in your body? Write about that. So actually sit with yourself and put your awareness into different parts of your body. See what twitches, what tingles, what wants to move, what's restless, and write about that. Not the topic directly yet, but write about, oh, my fingers are doing this and my back is doing that, and write what that's about, and then that'll at least get you going. So number 8, sometimes people get locked up because their inner critic is online, and the inner critic is giving you discouraging internal messages, or it's bringing up a lot of self-doubt, and what are you doing writing about this? You're not an expert, and things like that, right? So write that down. Enlist the inner critic as a writing partner. Say, go into therapist mode and say, tell me more about that, and then write it down. At least the inner critic can have a voice. After a while, it'll get tired and it'll stop talking, and then you can just carry on. So enlist the inner critic. There's some energy in it. A variant of this would be, what does the inner critic say about the topic, not so much about you? And that can turn into something interesting. And by the way, a little sidebar tip. When you're writing something in the draft stage, that's a different psychology from the editing stage. So if you're editing your own writing as you go, unless you just happen to be really good at that, which some people are, you risk locking yourself up. Your draft should be, you should have permission to just write whatever comes out, just so long as you get it down on paper. No editing. And then go back over it, and then is when the inner critic can be useful, as long as it stays focused on the writing and not on you. And if it focuses on you, then just give it a reminder. No, this isn't about me. Let's look at the topic. Right. Number 9, keep it playful. Keep it silly even. Here's a dumb example, but take a hat that reminds you of your topic and put it on. So if I'm writing about ancestry, I might put one of these on, or let's see, I got another one here. I might put this on, but it depends on the topic. It's a little bit too Clockwork Orange for most things, so maybe not that one. This is the go-to hat. All right, ready for this? There it is. That'll get you going. Keyboards fear this hat, right? Actually, keyboards probably fear for my marbles more than the hat. But anyway, make it light and simple. There's no topic that's so serious that you can't find something funny about it. If you're overly serious, you're going to get locked up. And then it's going to have all this horrible moral responsibility, superego stuff attached to it, and who the hell can write in that state? Number 10, find the part that you feel like working on. So I'll use an academic example. Let's say you're writing a dissertation or just an academic article that has to have some kind of a literature review on it, right? Most people find the literature review incredibly boring. It doesn't have to be, actually. It can be paying homage to your ancestors, your intellectual ancestors, and making the voices of the past talk to each other. There's creative ways to do a lit review. But if you find it awful and ponderous, then one way to do this is to just save it until you're in an awful and ponderous mood. So maybe you have, to say it astrologically, maybe you've got a big Virgo transit coming on, or just saying it psychologically or emotionally, maybe you just feel kind of like organizing things and cleaning them up that day. That might be a good time to do your lit review. Look through it, look through the topic itself, or rifle it in your imagination and think, what part am I in the mood to work on today? Am I feeling adventurous? Do I want to launch into a new project? That's the introduction. So work on what has energy for you. Number 11, write near flowing water. Here's a terrapsychological point. Terrapsychology being the study of how the things of the world, whether they're natural things like water and winds and the sun and landscapes or even man-made stuff, how it gets into the psyche, how the outer shows up inwardly. That's terrapsychology. So there's a reason that we scale mountains in order to have peak experiences, and we go into low places in order to get down into the depths, or we go out into the desert for self-purification. Unless you're at Burning Man, and then it's something else. But places that we are have a lot of influence on our internal workings, our psyche, and our writing in addition to that. So I've often found that when I kind of need to get the process going, if I sit near a river or a stream, it tends to flow, especially if I take a few moments and just breathe and get back into my body and then listen to the water for a while. I haven't tried this too much with artificial flowing water, like, YouTube videos or programs that you can use where it simulates water in the background. Try it out and see if it works. It may just make you want to go to the bathroom, but then afterwards you can write. So lastly, turn the topic, whatever it is, into a character and tell their story. So if you feel resistant to actually launching into the topic, then sit for a minute and imagine that you're watching, let's say, a cartoon or an animated film, and somebody named Topic walks up, and ask them internally, what do you look like? And it may be silly, and maybe you'll put a dumb hat on their head or whatever, but let them kind of paint themselves in. And here's where art can be useful too. Just spend a few minutes creating or allowing your topic to create itself and personify itself. The psyche does this naturally. When we dream at night, all those dream figures, one way of looking at them is that they're different parts of the psyche. There are other things too, but that's one level of understanding them. So once your character is a topic, maybe its name is Topic, maybe it's something else, then once upon a time Topic went down the road and saw a crazy guy with a weird hat on his head and decided, I'm not going to go anywhere near him. And then my topic did this and that and the other thing, and pretty soon you're writing about the topic, which can be an emotionally distancing move that's actually useful, because more and more it's going to drag you in, especially when the topic begins to speak in your imagination. And then before you know it, you're actually writing about the topic. So hope this was useful. Happy writing.